And welcome for the next talk. In a moment, we'll have Catalin Curelaru give his talk on connecting the dots and how threat intelligence protects the applications. I did want to mention something that I had forgot to mention at the beginning, because I do that. If you need to track continuing educational credits, or CPEs, just make sure that that's all your responsibility. We can't know if you're here or not. Obviously, it's virtual. So if you take screenshots as you go, that should be enough to prove to ISACA or whoever your organization is. So without further ado, thank you very much, Catalin, for this talk.
Yeah, thank you, Max. I'm really excited to be here at BSS Toronto 2020. And today I'll talk a little bit about Product Security 2077. Just kidding. Basically, we'll talk about cyber threat intelligence, how threat intelligence can protect the applications. So this agenda for today, basically, it's cyber threat intelligence, what it is, and why we need cyber threat intelligence. Also, a couple of insights based on our experience, and how we managed to protect the applications in Visma. But first of all, who am I? I'm Catalin Curelaru. I'm a member of the Product Security Operations team at Visma. Quite a big Nordic company that has over 340 development teams, lots of developers, and we are in many countries, only 37, so not too many. Also, one challenge that we have as a security team, we are acquiring 20 companies per year as a base. So just imagine how challenging it is to make security into this kind of company. A couple of areas of expertise that I'm doing in the product security team are bug bounty area, Dust, and of course cyber threat intelligence. And I'm also the chapter leader of OWASP Timișoara. So cyber threat intelligence, what it is and why you need it. With cyber threat intelligence, basically, you can achieve many things. Basically, the first thing you can achieve is knowledge. Knowledge that allows you to prevent or mitigate a couple of attacks. This is highly important because you don't have actually each time the knowledge. Because with that knowledge, you need to provide context like who is attacking you. You need to learn who is attacking, what are their motivations, what are their capabilities. Could be nation states, could be only cyber criminals that wants maybe to have some more money, maybe some ransom operators. But also, cyber threat intel can provide you also context around a couple of indicators that those attackers are using. So with those IoCs, with those indicators, you can integrate with your systems. Also, you can inform the decision making authorities into your company to be aware of the dangers that are around your company and around us as a nation or just as a company, or also as individuals. So I'm really curious. What do you think about the job of a CTI analyst, for example? What kind of job do you think that a CTI analyst is doing? What is interesting from your point of view, maybe? Also, what do you think are the necessary strengths of a CTI analyst? So are we James Bond or just Sherlock Holmes that are looking for some evidences that needs to be taken into consideration and to resolve a case? Maybe, just Sherlock Holmes, not just James Bond. But actually, in the world, we can see in the last couple of decades, cat and mouse play. So we see that the criminals are always changing the modus operandi or the mode of they operate, the techniques, the tactics, and the procedures they use. So it's a little bit challenging for you as a security expert, because we can see as a constant, we can see hacking news mostly each day, maybe a couple of healthcare companies, maybe different institutions. So the cyber criminals, the nation states are always changing. So we, as good guys, we need to adapt. We need to learn what they do, how they do, and what are their motives. And of course, for this, we need transparency between companies, because we need between transparency also collaboration, which is highly important. Collaborations between institutions, from institutions from the intelligence part, but also companies that are constantly receiving attacks, that are learning from those attacks, and to deliver that intelligence to other companies to know how to operate and how to protect from those attackers. So transparency and collaboration is highly important. So what is the life cycle of threat intelligence? So how does threat intelligence get produced? Maybe you're asking. Raw data is the same, is not the same as intelligence. Cyber threat intelligence basically is a finished product that comes out of 6 parts of cycle of data collection, processing, and analysis. This process is a cycle because new questions and gaps in knowledge are identified during the program. So to maximize the value of threat intelligence you produce, it's critical that you identify your use cases and define objectives before doing anything else. Also, dissemination after you've took all the steps are really important. You need to disseminate, and you'll need to get feedback afterwards. So there are a couple of types of threat intelligence based on the life cycle. So the types that most of the literature is talking about, it's often broken into a couple of subcategories. As demonstrated by the threat intelligence lifecycle, the final product will look different depending on the initial requirements, source of information, and intended audience. It can be helpful to break down threat intelligence in 4 categories based on these criteria. Of course, can go further with other categories types, but will not get into details because we don't have enough time, and there are limited constraints about the talk. But if you are a little Sherlock Holmes, then these 3 types of threat intelligence should work for you, your company. Of course, this is an oversimplification of the types of CTI, because in reality, the implementations of these types may vary per organization. I really like this this picture because it comes from an article, and this is also a simplified version of a CTI program, but it contains the strategical part, tactical part, operational part, and the sharing part, the dissemination, which is highly important. And based on all the needs, based on the security culture, based on the red teaming activities, purple activities, risk management, architecture part, you can disseminate to all the parts on your company. So I find it really interesting, and we need to have a deeper thought about this. So why do you want to have threat intelligence? Do you connect the dots by providing context of indicators and tactics, techniques, and procedures of threat actors to your tools, to your CM tools, and other tools that you have? Or do you infiltrate to some interesting parts of the web, dark web, open web? Do you scan for different activities? Do you know if someone is mentioning your applications, maybe your brand name, if someone is trying to make you have a bad reputation? So all these are quite good things that needs to be considered if you want to have it. So those are a couple of whys. A couple more good whys are: do you connect the information with all your company, with all the dots? Maybe. So maybe sounds good, maybe not. But a properly implemented CTI program can provide you all of the whys. I must confess that it's not easy. It requires lots of effort. But I will share a couple of key facts from our experience, how we connected the dots to try to protect our applications. So a key intelligence. How can we protect? So we developed a program inside the company we call it the Visma Application Security Program. We think that it's quite advanced because it compromised a couple of application and services. So we developed a program with multiple services and solutions that we offered to service delivery teams. So we offered all these acronyms to the service delivery teams as a service or as a solution. And if they want to onboard to these services, then they will get some points to the security maturity index, which is quite interesting. So all these acronyms that we offer. So we offer OWASP, Software Assurance Maturity Model, a bottom-up approach. We offer security trainings, and of course we offer SSAs, which is security self-assessment, PSA, privacy self-assessment, risk assessment. We offer SPIP, which is a security and privacy incident process. We offer product security operations center. We offer, of course, SAST, source code analysis. We offer DUST, dynamic application security test. We offer MAVA, which is manual vulnerability assessment, and automated third-party vulnerability service, ATVS. And SMI, which is Security Maturity Index, that proves the maturity of an application, which is really interesting. And the last but not the least is the CTI, which it's offered also as a service for all the service delivery teams. So how can you implement a program? First of all, you need to define your use case here. What are the needs for your company? You have from the beginning two options. Either you develop your own tools or rely on CTI platforms that are already doing the CTI lifecycle. For both options, you need to prepare for some money. Of course, some money from the first option that are needed are in terms of people, lots of people that needs to infiltrate to some special places to gather, to collect the data, to process the data, and to provide the data for analysis. Also, you'll need people that will develop tools. You will need tools that will be integrated. So there are, of course, lots of effort necessary, but you'll need to have a decision, of course. The first option, to make everything by yourself, by your company, or to contact a company or platform that is doing the threat intelligence, and you will rely on their data. And you, of course, you must be confident that the data it's accurate and they are collecting as much information as is possible. So their crawling and indexing mechanism needs to be very curated. And CTI data is collected, processed, and analyzed to understand the threat actors' motives, targets, and attacks for both options. And with both options, you will enable threat intelligence to make faster, more informed, and data-backed security decisions. Change the behavior from reactive to proactive in the fight against the threat actors, which will be really, really useful. And I'll concentrate on the program on a couple of main aspects, like monitoring operational part. Also, the tactical and strategical part are important, because on the tactical part, you'll outline the techniques, procedures of threat actors for a more technical audience, and the strategical part, it's for broader trends typically meant for non-technical audience. The payment fraud, compromise, the data, and typo squatting are really important, because with the monitoring sources like cybercriminal communities, pay sites, you will monitor all those informations for relevant payment card numbers, for example, bank identifiers, or specific references to financial institutions. Also, with the compromised data, cyber criminals regularly upload massive cache of data of usernames, password to pay sites, dark web marketplaces, or make them available for sale on underground marketplaces. So monitor these sources with threat intelligence to watch out for leaked credentials, compromised data, or proprietary code will be awesome and will be an advantage for your company. Also, typo sculpting is one of the key aspects here, because it will provide you protection against phishing. So surveillance, it's good in terms of monitoring the technology stack, technology partners for any zero-day vulnerabilities, and maybe social handles and also brand names. But you'll need to go deeper. The main question is how and what your app contains. Your technology stack needs to be correlated with the entire environment. You need to start connecting the dots. So you need to see what's there. Maybe you have Node.js, Angular, jQuery. How you relate those information that you received with all your resources, your storage accounts, web apps, databases, buckets, and so forth. And also, you need to have all the environments. More interesting, you need to have to correlate that information with your public endpoints, but also more interesting with your private part for any secret key leaks, any code leaks, and so forth. To go further, what to implement? The main thing is to have data that you collect. You need to process it, and after that, you need to analyze to understand the threat actors' motives, targets, and attack behaviors. So for that, you need to query. You need to query your data that you already collected against forums, pay sites, and many other places. A couple of examples that I want to show you here are examples around real case scenarios that we had. For example, we've had a couple of public endpoints. Of course, we have the internal toys from the software development teams ingested into the threat intelligence program that we have. And based on that information, of course, we've got lots of alerts that made noise. Like you can see, the first example on the right side, its noise is false positive. The second one, the same. But we've received on the third one, we've received an alert because it was private information from our infrastructure into the paste bin site. That was a red flag. Another red flag was for a dark web marketplace mention. Someone wanted to sell an account to a dark web marketplace. That's another red flag. So we managed to catch a couple of really, really nice things. But of course, this is quite spammy from time to time. So another interesting things that I want to mention here, a couple of takeaways that you'll need to consider based on these findings is that you need to map all the intelligence because you will get lots of false positives, but you need to see exactly what you have there. Of course, real-time alerts are the base here. Of course, transparency, it's another thing that is highly, highly important. But all of this into the context of the TTPs or the threat actors, you need to correlate everything and to have a prioritization. What is really important for your application and what is important for your business. Because more than everything, it's important to stay safe and protect your customers. Thank you very much. And yeah, wake up and more questions in Discord.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So we have a question that came in, and it was around what about kind of the smaller organizations that might not even have their full-time security person? Do you see any of those organizations using threat intelligence?
Yep. So that's a really good question because the bigger scope for the threat intelligence when you're a big organization, maybe it's easier because you have the money to invest in tools, you have people assigned to do this kind of job. When you're a smaller company, you need to rely on a SINT. It's quite hard to infiltrate to some dark places because you need to correlate and collect all the data. You need to gain trust if, for example, you're a small company to infiltrate to some dark places. So it's challenging, but if you rely on OSINT, then it's good. And for a small company, maybe it's enough. If you respect the basics for the web application security, then it will be good.
Cool, great. Thank you very much. And thank you for the presentation. We'll end here, but you can